Hey everybody, it's Tim Sackett and you're back with SmashUps, the video podcast brought to you by the great folks at SmashFly and of course Fistful of Talent. Welcome back. Really happy and excited today because I have somebody that I'm going to get to introduce at Transform, which is SmashFly's conference, so make sure you check that out if you haven't. But ironically, I had just also met her in California last week on a completely different thing. And so I'm going to bring in Shaunda Zilich, not Illich. She's from Michigan, and we were teasing about the whole Illich family that owns like the Red Wings and the Tigers and all that. So it's Zilich, and she's the head of employment branding for GE. Shaunda, how are you doing?
Good. Go Wings.
All right. Yeah, I know you're a big Wings, big Wings fan. Anybody in Michigan pretty much is on, kind of follows the Red Army. So definitely a big thing for that. So I wanted to bring you in. We obviously met last week and had a great time. Talked a lot about recruiting, employment branding. I was kind of interested to meet the head of employment branding for GE and not have it be a gray-haired person, because that was my perception, right? But also my perception was that, holy crap, GE has these like groundbreaking commercials that are so funny and, that they kind of make fun of their own brand. At the same time, they're making a younger generation really see GE in a different light. So that's kind of revolutionary. What were some of those challenges when you first came in to make that happen?
Well, yeah, and thanks for having me on here. This is quite fun and love talking about this stuff. So hopefully you can feel my passion. But, bringing on employment brand at GE definitely had challenges. In all honesty, I don't think GE really understood what employment brand was. They knew they needed something out there that attracted talent, but not necessarily like, what is that, right? And so it's been a bit of a journey. And as you can imagine, GE was kind of a conservative company when it comes to branding and outreach. So it's been a journey, but, we've gotten to a really great place. And I would say one of the biggest hurdles, like you asked, was the conservativeness and, what can we do out there with branding? And, oh my goodness, you're going to say this about us and that sort of messaging. But the good news is we're transforming as a new company. And so that it made for the perfect storm. It made for the perfect situation for us to talk about that, for us to make fun of ourselves. That's one of the biggest hurdles, I would say. And another big hurdle is just the company itself recognizing employment brand as being important and respecting it. Companies constantly sell and market their products and services and solutions. Yeah. And not until recently have really even leaders of companies said, oh my gosh, if we don't have the talent, then we don't have those products and services and solutions to sell. So I think that was another thing, is just making sure that the employment brand and the talent or the need for talent is respected and getting over that hurdle.
Well, I think it's something we've talked about for a few years, but I think your company was one of the first ones to really do it well in the marketplace, which is how do we sell our products and how do we sell us being a great place to work all in one? And, with the commercials that you did and different other, things, it's really difficult. Because, again, GE sells lots of stuff, and they have lots of careers, and they're this big kind of global brand, and to be able to go out and craft a message in like 60 seconds, 90 seconds that kind of says, hey, we're still this great giant brand that you come trust. At the same time, we're also this great kind of place to work, not just for you if you're 50 years old, but if you're 20 years old, we're a great place to work as well. That's a tough one to do.
It is. And, one of the toughest things about that is, not offending the other person, that you're not, that maybe you're still attracting those people, but you need more of the software engineers, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you don't need, we're really trying to paint GE as attracting software engineers, but at the same time, and one of the things we didn't really actually have figured out is how do you not offend? You still have to have the guy that turns the bench, So, as you've seen recently, we came out with the Sarah commercials, which are the inside. I think that helps with it, but it is a balancing act all the time, I think.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that you have this female building this, jet engine, and that's her job, that she's fine with that. And then you keep trying to say, well, no, aren't you supposed to have machines talking to each other? And you start making fun of your own employment branding commercials in an employment branding commercial, which is, again, just as revolutionary, right, to what we're trying to what people are trying to do. because they're so protective of their brand. But I think again, GE is still protective of their brand in a really good way because it comes across so positive, from that standpoint. Talk to me a little bit about the impact it's had on talent attraction, because that's the whole reason you do it, right? You get out there and say, look, we need this talent. So what's been the impact over the last year or so?
I think that it's been huge. Going back to one of your earlier points about how we go to market with some of this employment brand, it's different for different companies. So like GE has become a business-to-business company. We really no longer have a consumer brand.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different for companies that maybe have that consumer brand to attract talent, right? Because they're already in everybody's house or television, or they're going to Disney World, just different things like that, right? So I think that was something where, making sure we tie in the business to business, but it's that consumer, like how do we touch people, not just business, right? So to me, that's where those had the biggest impact to your question, right? They actually got in people's houses, you could say, right? They became a consumer brand because we had to touch people in employment. So it has had a huge impact. I saw numbers like our applications went up 800%.
It's amazing.
When those LM commercials first came out.
Oh my gosh.
Now I don't know that's not an actual good number, right? Like more applications. But
hey, you still have to still top of funnel, right? You still got to get things in the top of the funnel.
Still have more to pick from. But the thing is it painted GE in a different light.
Yeah.
And I think that was what we needed to do to attract the right talent. So it may have been more applications, but hopefully, and I think we're starting to see it's the right talent coming through that funnel as well.
All right.
So to me, that's the biggest impact as far as, making sure the employment brand actually has that on recruiting, and hopefully having those right people in the funnel for our recruiters to pick from.
Cool. Let me level set real quick. Hey, you're watching SmashUps, brought to you by the great folks at Smash Flying Fistful of Talent. If you haven't checked out the Transform Conference, it's the first recruiting marketing conference of its kind. It's going to take place in November in Boston. I'll be there. Shaunda will be there as well. And Smash Fly is actually sponsoring that entire conference. So check it out online. You can find it. Just search Transform and SmashFly, and you'll find it. I don't have the address right now off the top of my head, and somebody at SmashFly, I'm sure in marketing, will call and kill me after this. Anyways, so
that's why we got Google. That's why Google was invented.
Yeah,
I can't remember that
you had mentioned like the difficulty with a consumer brand, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I just saw it today, which was the Walmart CEO and their employment branding video that they did, which was executives in cars talking, or Walmart talking with executives in cars, and they actually had like this kind of average Joe driving in a used Camry with the CEO of Walmart, asking him questions and throwing the cards over his shoulder as he asked him questions. And it's the takeoff of comedians in cars, getting coffee on the Seinfeld web series. And it's brilliant. Same thing. Because Walmart, again, is a big, giant brand with a lot of negative kind of branding stuff out there. And so to turn that around, the CEO comes across as this everyday man that's really talking about why it's a great place to work and why you should come here. But not set up, right? Like the guy asked him to do talked about Chewbacca lady, the lady from Target. Did you see that video online where she put the Chewbacca mask on? So the guy asked him, can you do a Chewbacca? And, he tried to do a Chewbacca impression. It's so funny. And I'm like, that's how many CEOs and that's the world's largest company, would go out and actually do that. So I think you guys have led the way, because I don't think they would ever do that if some other big brand hadn't come out and did that. So congratulations. Well, I'll give you that credit, whether it's yours or not.
You know what? But the thing is that it goes all back to the transparency and the storytelling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to put your CEO in a car and talk to him informally, like the do-it-yourself, that's pretty transparent, So that's awesome.
Yeah. So pretty cool. That's cool. Last question, I'll get you out of here because I know you're super busy in that home office with the decorating and everything. So let's talk about large brands and what you see they're missing when it comes to employment branding now that you're kind of an expert in this space.
Let's hold that term loosely. To me, one of the biggest things, and you actually just kind of hit on it with the Walmart thing, is, of course, the transparency, but the why, right, is answering that question of why would you want to come be a software engineer at GE instead of somewhere else, right? And let's face it, most of our companies out there are all saying we're going digital, and we're all saying that we're new modern culture, and we're like Facebook and Google now, but the thing is, it's like what makes it different? What's the why, and why does somebody want to come work here instead of somewhere else? That's what I constantly, and I don't have it all figured out. With GE, but I think that's the only way we're going to attract the talent that we're looking for is if we can help them answer that question of why I want to be this person doing this at GE instead of doing it, somewhere else or, at another high-tech company or something. I think that's one of the things that I would say some people are missing with some of the large brands.
Well, and I think it's unique when you take a look at an employment branding thing. Most companies, I think, where they're failing is trying to answer that why with just one answer, right? And it's not, because it's different for every single individual person in every role. And it's not like you're going to go out and make 10,000 commercials of why you exactly should. But there are a lot of unique things. I've seen companies where they've said, they might only be trying to hire 10 or 15 different roles, and they've gone out and allowed people that are already in that role to do a short 90-second video on their careers page of why do I love working here in this role, right? That's just a simple way to do it, but it speaks specifically to that individual. And I think companies got to be more unique about trying to figure that out.
Yeah, and there's a few tools out there. I just saw one yesterday that was huge. That was awesome. Where, like you're saying, right? It asks the question of why, and the employee answered it. It made it easy for the employee to come up with that instead of just saying, "Hey, we need testimonials." And it made it easy for them to come up with the answer. And then it also made it easy to push out. And then it had the advocacy part, right? Then that person goes out and is in their network looking for like individuals, and with the same passions, with the same answering of why I'd come here.
So what's the tool? Everyone's going to ask. That'll be the comments. What's the tool? Do you remember?
And you just froze me. No, I can get there. We're going fast. Hold on. I'm sorry. Firm play.
All right, cool. And for those that are looking at it, there's probably 2 or 3. I know Jason Seiden's company does a similar kind of thing where they help employees draft or craft that story, because I think we all want them to share the story. But when if I ask you to share a story because you're in marketing and employment branding, you could probably do it. I could probably do it. If I go ask somebody, a software engineer, what's your story? They'd be like, I have no idea, right? So we have to help them craft that.
And it was neat. It's the first thing I've seen that helped that. We've tried to implement that. We have mygestory.com, and we've tried to implement it. It's been real hard, and we'll get some really good ones here and there, but it hasn't been an easy going. So I think things like that will help us out in answering that why and helping them. There's a lot of great commercials out there, right, though, that have a lot of good stories in them.
Yeah.
Like we saw a lot during the Olympics, So.
Yeah, no, and again, in fact, I saw one the other day in the theater that Chipotle has. It's kind of a long-form commercial that they run just in theaters. And again, a great story. It's funny, kind of poignant. It gets people to want to go and actually work, I think, for Chipotle or want to be a part of that brand, right? And again, they've had their own challenges. I mean, everybody has their challenges. So, Shaunda, I want to thank you very much. I'm going to get you out of here. Everybody, make sure you come to Transform. You can see me embarrass myself on stage. You can see Shaunda be brilliant and share the GE story. Everybody check out Smash Fly. We'll see you next time on SmashUps. We're out.